Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from our studios here at Kokomlemle in Accra on digital address GA0993341 on Joy 99.7 FM. It's also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by Telesol 4G, just a touch. Coming up, gender activist calls on Inspector General of Police to immediately withdraw all police officers who advise family of an 11-year-old boy set on fire to settle the matter out of court.
I would expect that the IGP would immediately withdraw these men.
MP for Ododo says man who slapped Ningo Pram legislator Sam George is wanted in connection with an armed robbery incident in his constituency.
The guy who slapped Sam George, we've known him to be an armed robber who have domiciled in my constituency at Old Fadama for some time. He was being pursued, he ran to the north, he hid himself, and he came down when there's a change of government.
We'll hear from him as police prepare to put him before court for another offense. Meanwhile, as Vice President inaugurates Commission of Inquiry into Ayawaso violence, we'll hear from a former Chief of Staff who is kicking against the Commission.
All these things can be investigated and established within 72 hours by the PIPS. It's very simple.
Also in this edition, we'll hear from a German journalist as he challenges Western stereotypes of Africa after a trip to Ghana for internship.
The content of my bag represented the subconscious image of Africa I was carrying in my head. Diseases, malaria, criminality.
We also have sports.
And Black Starlights coach Jimmy Kobla is not giving up on making the next stage of the ongoing African Youth Championship ahead of their must-win game against Mali tomorrow.
And as we build up to the Joy FM Lovers Dinner Dance on Valentine's Day, we ask music lovers exactly what makes Kojo Antwi tick.
When I hear Kojo Antwi is one of the musicians in Ghana, legend, you know. You cannot mention those who sing or who do good music without Kojo Antwi.
We have all that and more coming up here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. We settle for the details now, and gender activist Angela Dramina-Boaje has called on the Inspector General of Police to immediately withdraw all police officers who advised the family of an 11-year-old boy set on fire to settle the matter out of court. Ayimbiha Abelenkira was 2 years ago accused of peeping into a bathroom to look at the nakedness of a woman who was taking her bath. A young man said to be a mere onlooker took a bottle of petrol, poured it on the boy and set him on fire as a form of punishment. Upper West Regional Correspondent Albert Sorry has more.
He was sent to buy some petrol to be used to power a generator on the farm. He was in the company of 2 other children. According to Ayembeha, on the way back, the other 2 children peeped into a bathroom built outside a house. There was a woman inside the bathroom who raised alarm. The other 2 children ran away, but Ayembeha did not, because according to him, he did not commit the offense. So when the woman shouted that we had peeped in to see her nakedness, the man came to me and asked if I was the one who did that. I told him I was not the one, but rather the other 2 children who were running away. He then snatched the petrol from me and started pouring it on my body. Then he struck a matchstick and set me ablaze. He said he wanted me to die there. Embeha says he fell to the ground wailing and kicking in pain until his 2 friends ran back and started throwing sand at him in attempt to put out the fire. Other people then came to his rescue. At the time of Joy News's visit, Ayembeha's injuries had been dressed. His head was bandaged from above the eyes, and there were more bandages around his chest region and around his 2 elbows. The parts of his body that were visible were badly scarred. The assailant was arrested at the hospital after health officials gave police a tip-off. According to Ayembeha's father, they were advised to settle the matter outside of court so that the assailant, whose name they only know as Old Man, could take care of the boy's medical bills until he fully recovered. However, Ayembeha's assailant has now reneged on his side of the agreement and has sent the boy back to his family. According to his mother, there are times when the injuries get so bad due to the fact that they are unable to afford the cost of getting the injuries cleaned and the bandages changed. For Ayembeha himself, even though he wants the assailant to pay for the pains he has caused him, his main concern now is to get help to properly treat his injuries and go back to school. Reporting for Joy News, Albert Sori, Zuarungu, Upper East Region.
That's the plight of that 11-year-old boy. Now, the executive director of the ACT Foundation, Angela Dramina-Abuaje, says although the incident is horrifying, it's not entirely surprising.
It's wickedness. It's horrifying, but not entirely surprising, because in this country, children are still seen as seen and not heard, and easily dispensable with. So it's not surprising, but it still horrifies you to hear a thing like that. I'm more interested in what is going to happen now, the things that need to happen now. The first thing is to realize that what the man did amounts to attempted murder. If that child had died, that would be full-blown murder, and this is a felony. There is no way any authority can settle a case like this. So the first thing is to get the man who did it prosecuted under the Criminal Offences Act. The second thing is to go after the police officers who gave an advice like this. I would expect that the IGP would immediately withdraw these men, find out what happened, and look at the case docket and whatever was entered into that case docket, ascertain the truth and handle these police officers. They cannot continue to treat the citizens of Ghana as though we have no rights when they are supposed to be the ones protecting us.
So you hear there, Angela Dramina-Abuaje. So we're told that the Bolgatanga Municipal Police Commander, Chief Superintendent Samuel Ponyobing has been speaking on the matter. Upper East Regional Correspondent Albert Sori will join us shortly, but yet we're told they say they never advised the family of the 11-year-old boy to settle the case out of court. The police in the Greater Accra region are also taking interest in this matter, and when we're able to raise Albert Sori, we'll get the latest on this incident. But away from that, Member of Parliament for Odododio Neelanti Vanderpoy says the man who slapped Ningo Pram legislator Sam George is a wanted man. Sam George was slapped by one of the security operatives instructed by National Security Minister Brian Echampon to storm the residence of the NDC candidate in Bawalishi during the Ayawaso West Wogon by-election. Mr. Vanderpoy says the man is already wanted in connection with an armed robbery incident in his constituency.
The guy who slapped Sam George, we've known him to be an armed robber who have domiciled in my constituency at Old Fadama for some time. He was being pursued. He ran to the north. He hid himself and he came down when there's a change of government. He supported the people to harass and beat up and kill some NDC members in Old Fadama.
You have evidence to show that?
Why not? Who? We know him. We have always known him. He's the son of the late chief of Nanton, the one who slapped Sam George. We know him. And just yesterday we've heard that he's been involved in assault and death of a young boy at Soto, and the police are being given the pressure to release him and not to prosecute him. But we'll follow that case and we'll pursue it.
Again, you said what? Soto?
I said just yesterday we heard that he was involved in a murder of a young boy in Soto. He handcuffed the boy and beat him up, and the Soto police is being given pressure to release him and not to pursue the case. We are following keenly from the Soto police station, and we will make Ghanaians know what is happening. Because this boy cannot go scot-free. This boy cannot be walking on the street of Accra in the name of being a member of a so-called invisible forces.
You heard the Member of Parliament for Odododio Neelanti Vanderpoy there. Well, this same man who was yet to be identified has been arrested by police in Sotium in connection with the death of a houseboy. Residents in the area claim he was seen hitting the boy with a pestle. The suspect is expected to be put before court today. Maxwell Agbagba has been following this matter and joins us with the latest. So Maxwell, you started this report yesterday. What is the latest that you can report on today? Hello, Maxwell. Okay, we're still trying to raise Maxwell Agbagba there on the phone. Maxwell has been speaking to residents who have been testifying to what exactly happened to this 27-year-old houseboy. We're told he was tied and then also hit with a pistol several times until his death when he arrived at the hospital. The police have also been speaking on this matter, and the suspect is expected to be put before court today. Maxwell Agbagba is following that and will join us shortly with the very latest on that. So it looks like we have Maxwell Agbagba joining us. Maxwell, so I was asking what the latest is on this incident.
Well, MFR, we are currently at a Soweto police station where we are waiting for the two suspects to be put before court. But we are told that some processes would have to be completed first before the court process, would actually start. So as it stands right now, we are waiting at the Soweto police station for that process to actually finish. But when you come here, we have some family members of the suspects who are here waiting for the processes to complete so that the first sitting of the court, can take place. So as it stands right now, we're just waiting for the investigators to complete that stage.
But tell us a bit about what led to the death of this 27-year-old houseboy.
Well, some eyewitnesses we spoke to said that he was tied, he was actually handcuffed and was beaten with a pistol. Some of them who claimed that they saw this happen said he was hit many times, and they actually heard screams from the compound where the incident happened. We are told that he was actually accused of, stealing from the house. But when you speak to the family members also, they give you a different account of exactly what happened. They confirmed this part of the story that talks about the boy, the man, a 27-year-old man, stealing from the house. But they said they took him to some locations where he actually sold some of the things that he stole from the house. So just when they were taking him round to another location, he tried escaping from them. Just when he fled, then a mob attacked him and then beat him to death. So they are saying that the family members who are in police custody right now, two of them are not the ones responsible for the death of the boy.
You heard there, my colleague Maxwell Agbagba.
Do in the name of the Almighty God swear
that I will not directly or indirectly.
That I will not directly or indirectly.
That's the sound of members of the commission set up by government to look into the events of the Ayawaso violence being sworn in today by the Vice President. The commission, chaired by the former Commissioner for the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Justice Emil Short, with law professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu and former Inspector General of Police Patrick Kwating Echampong as members. Private legal practitioner and former Dean of the Gimba Law School, Dr. Enes Kofi-Abuchi, is secretary to the commission. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia charged the members of the commission to ensure an impartial work is done within the time frame given.
As you are all aware, the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, decided that in the public interest, that this commission of inquiry into the incidents that occurred during the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election be set up so that they will undertake a full, faithful, and impartial inquiry into those circumstances. Of course, in doing this, we had to, the President had to look for people of impeccable integrity. And this is, I think, this is the reason also why the membership of the commission is as it is today. I don't think anyone who can really question the integrity of the people who are here constituting the commission. So we know that the terms of reference says that you should complete this work in a month, and this is why we are quickly getting on the move. I think all the necessary arrangements and logistics will be provided to make sure that your work proceeds impartially and without any inhibitions. So I congratulate you and wish you the very best.
You heard the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, now Chairman of the Commission, Justice Emil Short, assured of a transparent, objective and fair execution of the mandates given them.
Your Excellency, on behalf of the members of the Commission and the Executive Secretary, we would like to express our appreciation and gratitude to His Excellency, the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and to you for giving us this opportunity to serve the nation. We consider this to be an extremely important assignment in the national interest. I would also like to express my appreciation to the words of confidence that you have expressed in us, particularly your statement that we have been selected because we are considered to be men and women of integrity.
You heard there Justice Emil Short, chairman of the three-member commission set up by government, but former Chief of Staff Nana Addo Dadzie is kicking against the establishment of this commission. Speaking to Raymond Akwan upfront, Mr. Dadzie says the object of the commission can be achieved by the police in less than 72 hours. He wants the head of the police service, the Minister of State in charge of national security, to resign to restore lost confidence in these institutions.
There's a way out. I said it's not the only vehicle. I think, for instance, that, look, what are we looking for? We are looking for who deployed the unit, the troops. Brian Achampon, Honorable, says he did. We assume that if you ask the question, can we identify the personnel? If he deployed them, he can answer it. Thirdly, what was the instructions or the mission he gave them? We know that one. What weapons were issued? We don't know. What vehicles were issued? We don't know. All these things can be investigated and established within 72 hours by the PIPS. You know PIPS? It's a police
professional standards
unit. It's very simple. There were policemen on the scene.
Yes, they were.
What were they doing there?
They were there to keep the peace.
Did you see them keep the peace there when the shooting was on? Did you see them? I saw a customs officer who was running. Did you see him?
Yeah.
You saw him?
Yeah. In some of the videos, though.
Did you see the big fat policeman who was standing there? It was a sad spectacle.
You heard then Nana Addo Dadzie, former Chief of Staff under the Rawlings administration, will stay on this a while longer because the Deputy AU Commission Chairperson, Ambassador Kwesi Quartey, believes the hearings by the Commission of Inquiry to look into the Ayawaso West Wuogon disturbances must be held publicly. He spoke to my colleague Joseph Akable on the sidelines of an AU program in Ethiopia.
I think it's a good beginning. I know Emil Short. The others in the committee, I know Patrick Achampon, who used to be IGP. Yes. Yeah. And I don't know who else is there.
And there's Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu.
Henrietta Mensah Bonsu, a professor of law, my very good friend. I mean, I think that committee is good. And they will be impartial and they will come out of it. No. We have been lucky that this happened. It has served as notice.
You think the committee would be able to unravel this and give us far
yes. I'm sure they will sit not in camera, they will sit open. People will come and give evidence, and if you hear the evidence, and they will come out with the report, and they will be implemented. No, I think that when I saw the committee, it gives me hope.
So you think a public hearing will be the best?
I think a public hearing will be the best. You see, it's important to air out your dirty linen sometimes. It cleans out everything. You know, that is why our democracy, young as it is that strong. Everything is done publicly. So you see it. And when the people start condemning it, you know it. You know, there's nothing like transparency and openness. And to influence people's minds, to serve as warning to all of us, to also serve as an education. That look, we have something that we cherish.
You heard the Deputy AU Commission Chairperson, Ambassador Kwesi Quartey, speaking to my colleague Joseph Akable in Ethiopia. You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Gender activist calls on Inspector General of Police to immediately withdraw all police officers who advise family of an 11-year-old boy set on fire to settle the matter out of court. We've also heard from MP for Ododo Diodio, who says man who slapped Ningu Pram legislator Sam George is wanted in connection with an armed robbery incident in his constituency. Still to come here on the Midday News, we'll get to hear from a German journalist as he challenges Western stereotypes of Africa after a trip to Ghana for internship.
The content of my bag represented the subconscious image of Africa I was carrying in my head. Diseases, malaria, criminality.
And as we build up to the Joy FM Lovers Dinner Dance on Valentine's Day, we ask music lovers exactly what makes Kojo Antwi tick.
When I hear Kojo Antwi is one of the musicians in Ghana, legend, you know. You cannot mention those who sing or who do good music without Kojo Antwi. Fante, yeah. Ordina ho fa jiji yo.
That's coming up shortly after the break. Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. It's time for sports. Benedict Owusu is here with a Friday edition. What's in sports?
I love the energy. You know, two big events happening tomorrow. The first for us is the Kids Olympics, and the second is the African Youth Championship, which is ongoing in Niger. And the Black Satellites tomorrow, they have a big game against Mali. They have to win that game or forget about qualifying to the next stage of the competition. At least, if they don't win or draw, they can still make it. Well, their coach, Jimmy Kobler, has been speaking ahead of the game, and he's very hopeful of a win tomorrow.
I don't know where they're coming from, seeing Mali as the second favorite, but that is their choice. We will go in very strongly. As we said, we came into this tournament because people were saying that to be the weakest team because there's no competition in our country, and in our preparation we were losing. But I want to say that we will never go out without a medal. We are sure of qualifying to the World Cup on the day when we meet Mali.
All right, so that's Jimmy Kobler. He is coach of the Black Satellites team. So their game is tomorrow. They come up against Mali. So a win or a draw. And you said what? Calculations. It's normal. It's normal. All right, okay. So the other big event happening tomorrow is the Kids Olympics. The maiden one is starting tomorrow with athletics at the Lincoln Community School here in Accra, and it's at Belingpe. Well, Director of Sports here at Multimedia Group, that's Samir Enchi, has been sharing what to expect tomorrow.
Well, you see, generally, every sporting discipline, football, volley, table tennis, you start by warming up. I mean, physically, as in general warm-up and specific warm-up. So when we start with athletics, we believe we can get them to warm up themselves into the other disciplines that they'll be participating in. So we want to do the athletics, the tracks, because they are kids, we want to manage the distance they do and in terms of the tracks. So it will be exciting.
Definitely will be exciting, and you have to be there, MFA.
And where's the event
at
again?
The Lincoln Community School.
It's not Lincoln. Okay. That's Benedict Owusu with the latest from the world of sports. Now, the Ghana Police Service has said it will not rest until it brings the killers of the Ahmed Swale to book. Ahmed Swale, who worked with the Tiger Eye private investigation team, was shot and killed last month by unknown gunmen on a motorbike near his home at Medina. The Tiger Eye PI and the Ghana Journalists Association are currently holding a memorial for him at the press center, from where Nancy Emefa Dradosi joins us with live updates. So we've heard assurances from the police. Did they say what's backing that assurance? Hello, Nancy. So it looks like we don't have Nancy Emefa Dradosi on the line, but the GJA president has some concerns about the way Swale's death is being discussed. What's the worry of the GJA? We can listen to them.
It is heartwarming to note that 6 suspected killers have been arrested. The GJA commends the Ghana Police most highly for this very significant progress in the investigations. We are inclined to summon the necessary optimism in the sense that the perpetrators of the murder will eventually be found and made to taste the biting edge. This is the only way to stanch the blood flow in our hearts, which was inflicted by the brutal murder of Ahmed. While enjoying the excruciating pain, we shall not shrink back or lose heart. We shall continue to fight, defend our rights, and expand the frontiers of freedom, which is the oxygen of our profession. A lot of theories continue to be swirled around the myth for Ahmed's assassination in that sector. That is understandable. What is not is the seemingly polarizing effects of such theories on the unity of the media.
Nancy Emefa Dradosi joins us now. We heard from the GJA president, Afil Money. Nancy, was there any representation from government?
Yes, the Deputy Minister for Information, Pius Hachide, was here. Now, he has been talking about government commitments in providing security to all Ghanaians, and specifically journalists across the country. He was saying that violence against journalists will not be tolerated under his government.
What happened was not only an attack on media freedom, but also a rollback of the progress made in terms of press freedom in this country. This country has repealed the criminal libel law, and the right to information bill is on the verge of passage. The government takes exception to such heinous crimes and condemns it in no uncertain terms. As we await investigations into this matter, we continue to urge the security agencies to quicken their investigations and to bring perpetrators to book timelessly. Violence against media practitioners and journalists cannot and must not be tolerated.
You heard the Deputy Information Minister, Pius Hachide. We heard from the police yesterday say that 6 persons have been arrested in connection with the death. Now, our German intern, Jeremy Brunner, grew up with stereotypes about Africa, corruption, diseases, poverty. Nevertheless, after several long stays in Ghana, that perception seems to have changed. In the following feature, Jeremy explains his perspective on Ghana and the continent.
When I arrived in Ghana for the first time, I was overwhelmed. I was 18 years old, just finished the senior high school in Germany, and came to this country to volunteer for the Ghanaian NGO Theatre for Social Change. I learned that Africa is a culturally diverse continent with 54 countries, 1.2 billion inhabitants. I learned that according to the International Monetary Fund, Africa contains 5 out of the 10 fastest growing economies in the world. But despite learning all of that, the content of my bag represented the subconscious image of Africa I was carrying in my head. Diseases, malaria, criminality. The issue is not that these stories are untrue. Yes, there are problems of sanitation, especially in Accra with its choked gutters. Yes, there are diseases like cholera and malaria in Ghana. But there's also the Ghana with an emerging middle class and a rapidly growing economy that rises the interest of international businesses. There's also the Ghana that shines by its well-established democracy and a vivid public political debate. The Ghana that, according to Reporters Without Borders, scores high in terms of press freedom. Placed 23 worldwide, even before the press of Spain, France and the United Kingdom. And the Ghana that does not consist only of people relying on charity, but has also banks who themselves give donations to the less privileged. But most important, most things in Ghana are simply like in my home country in Germany. Perfectly normal. There is no one picture of this wonderful country. There are only perspectives.
You heard there Jeremy Brunner's perspective on Ghana and the continent. Now, the countdown is on. In just a few days, it's Valentine's Day, and already love is in the air. And we're getting ready for Joy FM's Lovers Dinner Dance on Valentine's Day with Kojo Entry. You know that by now. Tickets selling fast and hot, 800 Ghana cedis. But exactly what makes Kojo Entry tick? Yeah, some of your views from the streets of Accra.
Kojo Entry is a legend, and also I like his songs. Every song he makes us reasons and a lot of ideas. So I like his songs because of the way he sings. It always have emotions to people. Kojo Entry's songs are better than those people because he's one of the best in this West Africa. So I like him. Those Shatta and Stone Boys are trying their best, but to me, I'll take Kojo Entry.
So I have some good news also. It's not just for couples this time around. At the Kempinski Hotel on February 14. Single tickets also going for 400 Ghana cedis, so we can all have a place there at Kempinski. Now, her songs dominated the airwaves and her brand grew fast within a year. I'm talking about Priscilla Opoku Kwarteng, known in the showbiz industry as Ebony Reigns. Today marks exactly 1 year since the dancehall diva died with 2 others in a tragic accident on the Sunyani Kumasi Highway. Many Ghanaians have taken to social media to share fond memories of her and her music.
Wherever you there, I know you're missing me. Where you find someone just like me. Yeah. One day you will know. These are the words of my mother. As I'm getting old, even now I remember. So I'm packing all my tools. I'm going back at home. A young girl like me shouldn't be caught with an old school fool. He told me he was a banker, not knowing bank robber. This man is a gangster, bukum bankum boxer. Oh sorry I no pa, but I'm boy.
We remember her exactly a year ago. That's Priscilla Opoku Kwarteng, Ebony Rains, wherever she is. May your soul continue to rest in perfect peace. And that's it for today's edition of the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. I am MFA Apau. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Do enjoy your weekend.
So everyone says I'm a Kosia film.